All right, we're recording. We're on. All right, so thank you. This is Noire Life magazine. I am the editor and the host for today, David Cheney, and I'm here with one of my bros from back home in North Carolina,
Yes, sir.
Wordplaydame, um,
Sir.
one of the best to ever do it. I always one of the reasons I created this magazine was to support us, to kind of lift us up. And there's so many unsung heroes and artists right in our own backyard, in our own communities. And so this is a way to kind of put them out there, to get them a little bit more publicity and more support for what they're doing.
Mhm.
Because we're always talking about big names, you know, the Jay-Z's, the Kanye's, the J.
Right.
Cole's, but they all had to start somewhere. And, you know, it was definitely from not only their hard work and dedication, but through support. And so that's definitely what I want to do with this. So without further ado, I'm going to let my bro come on and just give us a quick introduction. And then we'll jump off from there.
Cool, cool. Appreciate the introduction, brother. I go by Wordplay Dame. Born and raised in the Halifax County area, Halifax, North Carolina to be exact. Was born in Roanoke Rapids. Moved to the country part of Halifax County around 10, I would say. And from there, I went to Dawson Elementary School. And from there, I went to Brawley Middle School, which is in Scotland Neck, North Carolina. And from there, I went to Southeast Halifax, which is in Halifax. And I'm 28. I'm just a well-rounded artist. I wouldn't necessarily pinpoint any type of genre that I'm tied to because I do all types of genres. But I would say I'm a hip hop artist as a whole. But I do R&B. I mean, I don't like to label myself
Cool.
because I feel like that puts a limit on your artistic integrity. But yeah, that's pretty much a rough introduction of where I'm from. And
Cool. I like that.
yeah,
So, if you could give us some background, what got you into music? Like, what was that whole thing that made you like? Because I know you didn't just wake up one day and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do music." Like, what drew you to music?
crazy thing is that is exactly how it happened. But what made me want to do music was just the feeling it gave me to just witness incredible art that an artist would display. Like I would say like Lil Wayne, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Those are just some of my many inspirations that made me wake up one day and just say, "Hey, I'm gonna start making music myself." Because I wanted people to feel how I felt when I listened to these artists. So that's really the feeling is what really made me want to start making music myself.
Now, you write your music, and so what is the inspiration behind it? Like, what does that writing process look like? Because I know some people tend to think, you know, writing is like, you know, you just write, like you just, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
easy. But I know from being a writer myself, it's a process. You have to process things out, you have to lay it out. But it's different when you're talking about writing for people to read and writing for people to listen, like in terms of music. What does that process looks like for you, the writing process and putting the music together?
basically when I write, 9 times out of 10, I'm using a beat because I feel like the beat is what inspires me to put a particular set of words together for that particular song. I'm not the type of artist that orchestrates the what is this about to mean? What is my subject matter? What is my I just literally go with the spirit, basically. Whatever the spirit, the beat brings out is what my spirit writes with, basically. Like it's hard to explain, but it's just like a certain melodies and certain beat structures bring out a certain different type of style when I write. But I never structure it like, oh, I'm gonna write about this subject, this like it's complicated like that for me. I just really throw from the heart every time I write.
Cool, cool. So would you say that from what you just said, would you say that some of your life experiences influence that, or no?
Oh, for sure, most definitely. That's why I feel like my music is so authentic because I write only from life experiences or experiences around me. I never create stories.
Yeah. And I think
Even go
I,
ahead, bro.
I think that's important because I think a lot of new artists that are coming out, one thing that I had this conversation with friends before where you can tell the difference between a person that's doing music and a true artist. Because a true artist is writing about stuff that Dave experienced. They're talking about things that Dave experienced or things that we can relate to. Whereas those that's just doing music, not that it can't be good, but you really can't relate. You feel nothing from it. And
Right.
so you want your artists, your listeners to have that connection with you.
Mhm.
So how do you make sure in each of what you do that your listeners can get something out of it?
Because I know that energy is transferable, and if I put pure and genuine energy into my music, that's what the listener is going to receive from that. Because, like you said, it's about real life stories, real life experiences that compels the listener to want to gravitate towards it. And I feel like that's what I do. I always do everything from the heart and soul. I don't try to force anything, and I just try to make sure everything I do is organic. And then just based on how that law works, people are going to feel that same energy if I'm putting that out genuinely.
Yeah, I agree. I know recently, within the last year or so, you lost your mom. My condolences for that.
Yeah.
Um, how has that impacted you overall in terms of your music and everything? How's that impacted you?
Um, I know how moments like that can sometimes drive people away from the thing that they're supposed to be doing, but I feel like it brought me closer to my destiny because for one, it's what she wanted me to do, and for two, it kind of strengthened my faith a little in God a little bit because it's any regular person in that moment would try to contradict God's power, but I know that she's with him and that gives me peace in that regard. And then I also want to fulfill the things that she envisioned me fulfilling as far as being an artist on a particular level. It drives me in that regard because it's what she always wanted to see me do. And it strengthens my faith to keep going.
Cool. You brought up a good point. How it strengthens you. Um, not only your music, but what are some other ways that you've done to kind of stay grounded, keep that focus?
Uh Prayer, brother. Prayer for real. Like without that and the strong connection I have with God, I wouldn't be here talking to you today because I probably would have been in a dark place, honestly. But with his faith, grace, and mercy, I've continued to progress and further my knowledge into what I'm doing and the understanding of the relationship with God and just prevailing. And
Yeah,
that's all I'm trying to do and stay positive throughout that whole process. Because it does get rough. Like I would be a robot to sit here and tell you that I haven't had some down times or some times of doubt. But throughout that process, God has kept me strong and that's what I rely on most, especially in times like that.
yeah. You know, I think it's important that everybody, especially this upcoming generation, really have to find their thing. What's their thing? Their positive thing
Hmm.
to keep them grounded. I know, just like you, for me, it's my faith. Um, but what would you say to um, that young person who may have, I don't know, lost a parent, or maybe they're going through a dark season in their life? What would be your advice to them, whether they're interested in being an artist or not? What would your advice be to them?
Well, anything you do, you have to allow God to mold that thing and allow it to come off as positive as possible. No relationship without God, any relationship without God will fail. So with that correlating to what you want to do, if it's artistry, if it's you want to be a painter, you want to be a architectural designer, anything you do has to be grounded on a relationship with God in order to succeed to the magnitude that you would want. There's well also depending on your definition of success, because a lot of the time people's definition of success is not what it really is.
True,
Success is mostly inward than physical.
true.
So that's what I would tell any artist. Make sure your relationship is grounded with God and ask him to use your gifts for his will. And it's gonna come out beautiful every time.
I like that. Um, so getting back to staying with the music part, how did you come up with the name Wordplaydame? Like,
Or
where did that come from? Like, what happened there?
um so back in like 2010 when I first created the name, Wale was my favorite artist around that time.
Okay,
So and he called himself Wordplay Lay. And I was like, oh, that's dope. And then I just took the lay off and added my name.
okay,
That is that simple. Then I always saw myself being like a lyrical type artist. So wordplay just goes with lyricality, and Dame is just Dame, like my name.
yeah. So you just put the two together, and there we
Yeah.
have it.
Yep. That's it.
So, how long would you say you've been doing music? Because it's been more than a couple of years since you
Um,
got your first song.
I've been doing music, like actually doing it seriously, I say since 2014.
Yeah. So
Because
like,
I put out my first project then, and I just put out my second project in 2018.
okay. So you put out the second one in 2018,
Mhm.
and then like you said, the first one came out 2014,
Mhm.
2018. What happened in between the time? Why the length? Because I
Um,
know some artists have a reason why there's a length
yeah.
in between their projects. So why the length? What happened in that time?
I basically was just using that 4 years to find my own sound, because my first project, I felt like it was molded behind other artists' sound, because I was listening to them trying to find myself, but knowingly the whole time I didn't want to exactly sound like the artist that I study necessarily, but I found myself doing that. So I took that 4 years to just really hone into my own craft and mold my own sound to put out a body of work that I'm happy with.
Cool. Now, are you currently working on any upcoming projects that you would like people to know about?
Oh yes, I'm working on like three different projects at one time. But I got the most recent project that I'm going to release. I'm not going to release the name, but
Okay. All right.
it's going to come out in like January, I say at the top of the year for
Okay.
sure.
Cool.
Yeah, you can expect some. And I'm working on a lot of different videos that I'm going to drop throughout the next couple months, and just a lot of different other stuff, just to once again make sure this album is a full body of work. And I believe in this album more than I believed in any other album I've created or music.
Cool. So, right now, Vaz being quarantined, uh, COVID-19 pandemic,
Yeah.
how would you say this pandemic, this season, has kind of either helped or harmed like what you're doing, your craft?
Um, I say I start off with the harm, and I feel like it harmed it in a way of me being able to connect with people one on one via live shows, via concerts, via networking events, like in that nature. But on the plus side, it allowed me to be able to still work on my music more than before because a lot of things cease to exist that'll distract me from being able to focus on my craft, writing songs daily like I'm supposed to, just researching, marketing, and all different facets of just being an artist and not necessarily the music. It's just helping me get all my P's and Q's in order as an artist with the music and all the other things that comes with that as well.
Cool. Um, so with that being said, um, the next question is to because I know you got started in 2014. You
Mm-hmm.
just mentioned touring and concerts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Management. Are you your own manager? Do you have publicists? Like, who's your team?
Um,
Like, how does that look? What's that set up like?
Currently building my team, but as of now, I'm my only manager or PR or I'm everything right now. I'm just fully independent to the 100 degree. Like I'm all the way independent. Like I have nobody but me and my producer right now.
Cool. Now, do you feel like being an independent artist, being the manager, being the PR, does that sometime become? I'm pretty sure it does become overwhelming, but um, how do you deal with that? How do you channel all of that and know boundaries between each role that you're playing?
Just when you're in the independent space, you just gotta wear many hats and just know when to take your artist hat on and put your manager hat on, or take your manager hat off and put your PR hat on. Like it's just about having balance and staying grounded and just mainly being educated on those things so you know what and what not to say and yeah, just being educated on those things, the manager role, the artist role, the executive role, the PR role, like you just gotta make sure you're well versed in the knowledge on what these roles entail.
Is there anything now that you know about being in the music business for a little over 5 years? Is there anything now that you know better that you would tell your younger self when you started back in 2014?
Oh, for sure. Consistency. Um, put out more visuals. Um, I would have found my own sound earlier, but I feel like that's just part of the process of just
Yeah.
mimicking your favorite artist to find your own sound. Because a lot of the greats have done it. J. Cole, Kendrick, Jay-Z, a lot of the greats have done it. So I feel like that comes with the process. But mainly, I would tell myself put out quality videos. Um, really hone your sound. Put in your 10,000 hours to hone your own sound and because you can't skip the come up. A lot of people try to skip it to put themselves in a bigger platform earlier, but that's when you fall quicker too. So I feel like my process was supposed to be my process,
Yeah.
and once I do come into success, as they would say, I'm gonna be more prepared to handle it based on the trials and tribulations of those years throughout 2014 to now.
I respect that, bro. I respect that. So, uh, you gave some great advice, some great info. I definitely want people to check you out because I know there's a bunch of people that I've worked with over the years or that I've interacted with that probably have never heard you or listened to your music. So this is
Mm.
definitely why I wanted you to be on this show and like part of what we're doing here at Noire. So if you could just share your contact info, social media, so people can follow. And I'll also put that in the information when I release the interview so people
Cool.
know, all right, this is his stuff. This is where I check it out. So if you could share that before we leave.
Yeah, you can follow me at any social media platform at Wordplaydame, WordPlaydame. on all social media, all streaming services, anything. It's the same. You'll find me. And yeah.
Cool. So before we go, I always do this with artists. Give me your top 5 artists of all
Ooh.
time, living or dead.
Okay. This is no particular order. I'm just going.
All right.
Um, I say Kendrick, number one. Well, I'm just no number. Just let me get a 5 because I'm gonna name the order myself. Like Kendrick, J. Cole, T.I., Isaiah Rashad, and Marvin Gaye.
All right. All right. That was good.
Yeah.
That was really good. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So once again, thank you for joining us today, bro. I want to thanks to all the viewers. Remember to check us out at Noire Life Magazine. Follow us on Instagram. We are Noire Life Mag at Noire Life Mag. We're also on Facebook at Noire Life Magazine LLC. And we're on Twitter. Follow us at Noire_Mag. And we are now featured on, well, not featured. Well, hopefully we'll get there. But right now, our podcast is on Spotify. So check us out, Noire Life Presents. So yeah, man, thank you for chiming in, and I'm looking forward to sharing this and putting people on to you.
No problem, brother. I appreciate you for reaching out, man. Anytime.
All right.
I can't let you go. I hope your heart is saying stay. Just take my hand. I can't let you go. Here's my heart, it is on display for you to take.